Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today in this video we are going to see difference between where keyword and let keyword. So if you are new here, please consider subscribing so you won't miss any future content. Now let's get into the video. Yes, so few videos back we have already learned about what is where, what is let keyword and how we can create variables with that. But now we are going to see what is the difference between both of them. As we know that where is a global scope and let will have the block scope. So let's see what is the difference between and what is meant by global scope and block scope. Okay, so global scope means wherever you will create like in the entire file wherever you can access it or create it, the where. Okay, so that's a global one. Block, we can say that between curly braces. Okay, so this is a block. Okay, it can be if, it can be function, it can be anything. Okay, but if it is inside this, if you are creating let variable inside this block, it can be accessible only within this block only. You can't access it outside. Okay, so let's have a code. Let's create few variables and see what is exactly the difference between where and let. Okay, so what I'll do is firstly let's create a variable with var and say the value will be pi. Okay, and let's print it up. Okay, so we know that it will going to give us value as pi. I'll just do this, and here let's run with node.js, and we can see we got the value as pi. Okay, now let's do one more thing. Okay, so I have a if condition, suppose, and I'm checking if num is triple equals to 5, and once it's true, what I'll do is I'll going to change, uh, let's create one more same with the name as well. Okay, so now you see here I have created it outside num. Again I am creating inside a block, a var. Okay, again I am creating with the same name, but the value is different. Now if I do console here, what exactly the value will be? Okay, let's see. Now you see we got value as 10, because as we know that var is a global variable. Okay, so if you create it here and if you again create here, the latest one will going to be run, and the value will contain is 10 because the latest one is the 10 assignment. Okay, but similar to this, let's use let keyword. Okay, so instead of var I'll write let here and let here as well. Okay, now here we have created 5, and whenever it's there I am creating again one more variable inside the block. Okay, and trying to print that value. So let's see what exactly the value will be. I'm just clearing this, and let's say 18 and print. Now you see we got value as 5. Okay, means it is created, this is outside. Okay, outside of the block, and I have created one more let inside a block. As let is a block scope, that's why it's only accessible inside this block only. Outside this block, if you access it, you will not going to get the output of it. Okay, similarly how we can see it, if I console here num, right? So here what exactly we are going to get is num as 10. Okay, and outside we are going to get a 5 value. So let's see that as well. So I'll run the file. Yes, now you see, first we got 10, which is this console, and this is getting from this, and lastly we have pi, which is this one. Okay, yep, yes. So let's take one more example. I'll create if again, and let's say phi triple equal to 5 to just get a true condition. That's why I'm using directly phi and phi. And here I'll create a var. Okay, var, let's say x equal to, this is string. Okay, and this value I can print here. Okay, so now you see outside there is no value now. Okay, only the inside if condition there is a x I have created, and that value I am trying to access outside of the block. This is the f block, right? So I am accessing here. So if we print this with var, if we have var, right, it will give the value outside of the block as well. Okay, same thing if we try with a let, see, here also it's giving a clear warning that x is declared, but its value is never used. We have used outside of the block, That's why it's showing like it's not used, because it should be inside only. Okay, so if we try to print now, we'll not going to get that. It shows x is not defined because x is doesn't exist. X exists in the block scope only, so outside there is no x. That's why it will going to show error that x is not defined. Okay, and one more difference we can see it as, suppose, yeah, so we have a var, and I'll say str. Okay, or let's say name. Okay, so let's say my name here, or let's say only this. Okay, so you see I have created one variable, and now I don't have any value to this name. Okay, so if I print this name, we are going to get value as undefined, because the initial value for every variable will be undefined. Okay, now instead of going here and assigning the name, I'll go before. Okay, before I have declared that, there I'll create a name and I'll say value as Iliad. Okay, and after this I'll try to print it. Let's see what exactly the output will going to generated. Okay, so node 18. Now you see I have uh, given the value first, then declared it, and then consoled it. Okay, and you are seeing that the value is coming properly. Okay, but let's try with the let again. Okay, yep. Now you see, it's directly giving the error like cannot access name before initialization. Means whenever you use let keyword, it should be like first declare, then assign, then use. Okay, it's not like first what do we say, declare, like first you assign the value, later you declare it. No, it will not going to work. But in the case of var, it definitely will going to work, because in JavaScript the declarations of var will go first. Okay, then the initialization will come. But with let, it will not going to happen. Whenever we have started the declaration, that time only it will going to declare, not before initialization. Okay, so this is one of the difference between let and var. Yes. So as we saw, few of the differences between var and let keyword, and already we know that var will be like global scope. We can access it anywhere, and we can assign the value, and we can reinitialize it again, or we can redeclare it again var, and that value will be accessible from anywhere. Okay. But in the let case, it will be only limited for the block scope. Okay. Block scope is nothing but the curly braces which we have. So for that particular block, it will be accessible until unless it can't be accessible. And we saw how the declarations also different from each other. Okay, so if you initialize the value first and then declare it with var keyword, it will going to work, because for var keywords, what will happen is the declaration comes first automatically in JavaScript. But let and constant, both are same, will not going to have such functionality with that. You have to declare those variables first, then you have to assign the value. So maybe like var keyword, how it the functionalities we have for var keyword, that maybe work for few of the cases, but most of the cases recommended variable will be the let only. Because okay, because if you start doing like big codes and all, like so many lines of code, if you are using var and you are declaring in the bottom or in middle of code, that time if you have like smaller codes, it doesn't affect it. But if you have very large code, that time it will definitely going to affect your code as well. So you have to make sure that these things are not going to happen. And whenever you are using let, you have to make sure that it should be outside the block if you want to access it outside. And if you are creating any variable with let keyword inside a block, it can be only accessible inside the block. These things you have to make sure whenever you are using these keywords. Okay. Yes. So this is about difference between var and let keyword. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, please consider subscribing, and give it a like. I'll be back with more content in the next video. Thank you.